Hello and happy Wednesday. I am Tracy Stuckrath and host of the Eating and a Meeting podcast. And I am here today. I'm actually in, where am I? Anaheim, California. I'm here attending Cater Source Convention, actually speaking at it. I did two sessions yesterday and one today. But I didn't want to miss out on today, and which is the first Wednesday in May, and that means it is the kickoff of Food Allergy Awareness and Celiac Disease Awareness Month. And so I wanted to just give you some information about food allergies. What I've got on board next week is Food Allergy Awareness Week. What speakers I've got lined up and topics we're going to talk about, and just in general, what I'm seeing around food allergies and how we still need to and celiac disease, and how we still need to do a lot of education around both of these medically necessary diets because they're super, super important. So, to kick off, let's just talk about food allergies for a few minutes. And if you don't, and I can put some slides up to go with this. I don't have them with this presentation right now, or this live broadcast. But food allergies are a medically or an immune system response to a food being consumed, and someone's body does not like it, and they will project it out of their body. Your body will attack it. You will see reactions such as hives and throat swelling and swelling of the lips, itching, a variety of different things, vomiting, a variety of different things, saying the body hates this food. And that reaction can actually happen between 2 minutes and 2 hours of actually ingesting that food. And yesterday in my presentation, I was explaining to these catering companies and meeting planners that when we're looking at catering to individuals, we need to ask them, if they tell you that they have a food allergy, we actually need to ask them questions concerning that allergy. One being, how is that allergy triggered? And food allergies can be triggered in 3 different ways. And that's by eating the food, which is very normal. And that is probably the most common way that a reaction can happen. But can also be get a reaction by touching someone or touching that ingredient, just having contact with the oil in peanuts, or shaking someone's hand after they just peeled and ate shrimp, right? And then the other one is from inhalation, and that's more from inhaling the proteins in the food. And when we're talking about catering and events, that would be like sauteing shrimp as an action station in front of guests. The proteins in that food could actually get into the air, and somebody can inhale them and cause a reaction. And that means we need to make sure that when we're asking the questions, do you have any food allergies? Ask them, how is it triggered? Because you don't want to be the planner. And this is a story I heard years ago. You don't want to be the planner who someone tells you they have a nut allergy, you order Nutella desserts and you preset them. And then an hour and a half beforehand, you find out that it's an airborne allergy and the person cannot be in the room with those tree nuts. You can't fix that dessert. That person actually ended up needing to eat alone, or eat on her own outside the company event, and they were able to accommodate the event, her nut allergy later on in the event. But go ahead and be proactive and ask those questions. So I think it's really, really important. And the other one is also to talk about epinephrine. Asking your attendees, if when they say they have a food allergy, ask them if they do carry epinephrine, because hotels, while places of public accommodation, hotels and convention centers in, I think it's 37 states, are allowed to actually have epinephrine on hand and on site. A majority of them don't. So we need to, one, make sure our attendees carry it, and two, if they don't, who on the property, if the property has it, and or what the response time from the emergency medical team is. And we need to make sure that our emergency medical teams actually have it stocked, and the people on those trucks are actually allowed to administer it, because some counties and states have limitations on who can administer it, even on the EMT side. So asking those questions. But let's go back a little bit even deeper or further into what food allergies are and talk about the top 9 food allergies. So if you've heard me talk about these before in my presentations, you know that wheat, soy, tree nuts, peanuts, fish, shellfish, milk, and egg are the top 8 allergens. Well, last year in the US, sesame was added as the 9th top allergen. So it's now 9. So again, wheat, soy, tree nuts, peanuts, fish, shellfish, milk, egg, and sesame. Those 9 foods cause 90% of all allergic reactions. And when we think about what we're serving in our events, we need to make sure that we're labeling for those ingredients because a lot of them are hidden. And we need to be asking those questions. And just so you know, even though those 9 cause 90% of all allergic reactions, there are more than 170 foods that are documented and known to cause allergic reactions. So you will get people telling you that they're allergic to garlic, that they're allergic to mammals meat or to meat, that they are allergic to onions or escargot or carrots or any, there's a wide gamut of lists, corn. And those are legitimate allergies. They're just not the top 9. And we need to take those seriously and make sure that we're accommodating for them. Last week I did a program and we had a woman who was allergic to wine, the sulfites in wine, which is a top allergen required to be labeled by the European Union, Canada, and a couple of other countries. So we needed to label for wine and we labeled for pork because it was Passover. And we had a couple of individuals who are follow kosher, are kosher eaters. But pork is also an allergen that's documented by government in Korea. So it's not unusual to be allergic to pork. So that's what I labeled for. I labeled for not only the top 9 allergens, but I labeled for the ones that my attendees said that they were allergic to as well, so that they know and they could be comfortable going through the buffet and finding something to eat. And let's see if I can pull up a picture. I don't know how talented I am at that, but the one of the things that I did note on my cards, the menu cards, is that this contains wheat or shellfish and dairy, and then it is nut free, or nut free, shellfish free, fish free. So it was telling people what was in the food, but was also not in the food, because that's just as important when you're creating a buffet or any kind of menu, to let the individuals who are eating it or about to eat it be comfortable knowing what is in and not in the food. And you should also, of course, have a list of other ingredients available in case somebody has an allergy to MSG or anything else, so that your banquet captains, you as your culinary concierge, which is the role that I served last week for my client, can answer those questions for the attendees. Celiac disease. Let's talk about celiac. So celiac is another medically necessary diet. An individual who has celiac disease follows a strict gluten-free diet, and gluten is found in wheat, rye, and barley. And it is the difference between food allergy and celiac disease. Celiac actually attacks the body. It's an autoimmune disease that impacts the villi in our small intestines, and actually it's a disease of malnourishment, malabsorption, because the villi's job is to absorb nutrients and then pass them through the body so that it can function. And when somebody eats gluten and they're celiac, the villi gets destroyed and it doesn't do its job. And so they have similar reactions, can have similar reactions to somebody who's got food allergies, or as someone with food allergies, but it's more of a long-term effect than an immediate response of going into anaphylactic shock. Someone with celiac disease is not going to go into anaphylactic shock, unless, of course, you have celiac disease and food allergies, and there are people who do have that as well. So we need to, when we're looking at labeling, you also want to make sure that you're labeling for wheat-free for the allergen, and also gluten-free, because gluten includes rye and barley. So those are some basic information about food allergies and celiac disease. And we need to, when you're designing these menus, you need to know the information in advance. So you need to make sure that you're asking your attendees in advance and make that question mandatory. I like to make that question mandatory so that you get the information up front. It's really difficult, and especially in coming out of COVID and starting meetings back, getting dishes made at the last minute is really hard. Supply chain, staffing issues. So being able to plan your menus around these dietary needs in advance, and I'm saying at least 30 to 45 days in advance, it makes the job easier for the chefs. It makes the job easier for you. You can get labeling done. And I think that's really important. And you can communicate to your attendees about what you're serving and what's not, and how they can and will be fed at the event. Last week, I had fun. I wanted to let the individuals that were following a gluten-free diet, let them know that we had gluten-free bread. So I texted them all. I put them in a group text, and I just said, "Hey, letting you know that we have gluten-free bread on a separate table." We were doing deli buffets. It was set on a separate table so they could go get their bread from the table and then come back and get their meats and cheeses and everything, make their sandwiches on that regular buffet. But we wanted to make sure that the gluten-free bread was separated from the regular bread, the non-gluten-free bread. So, um, and as we kick off this month and as we learn throughout the month about food allergies, some things that I've seen in conferences that I go to, conferences that I work, and ones that I cover under the Eating at a Meeting podcast, is that we still have a lot of work to do. Food allergies are still, and celiac disease are still medically necessary diseases that majority of the people don't understand. We don't understand, our industry doesn't understand the stress and the fear of relying on someone else to make food for them at an event and not having direct connection with them, and making sure that we do it correctly. And so we want to make sure that we're communicating to our guests how it's being done, how it's being handled, so that they feel safe and cared for. And when you care for somebody and you show that service to them, they're going to come back. They're going to become loyal fans. But we still have a lot to learn, and I know there's a lot of pushback. Why do I have to label this? Why do I have to label everything? Why can't they just go find food on their own? And why are they bothering why are they bothering us with that? And it's I get so passionate about this. It's crazy, but it's just compassion. And if I am paying for a registration fee that to attend a conference that includes food and beverage, I should have equal access. I should have an equitable meal as everyone sitting next to me at the table or at the event, right? And because I'm coming, my need is still that I need to eat. And you have communicated to me that you're providing food and beverage at this event. So your responsibility is to, make sure that we all have equitable, we are treated equitably at that event, whether it's accessing it, getting into the convention center in general, whether it's what I eat on my plate, whether it's I can hear the speakers if I'm hearing impaired or deaf, or if I'm visually impaired or blind. I mean, making those accommodations is the same thing with the food allergy and celiac disease. And we as meeting professionals, whether you're in the kitchen or you're the front of the house as a server or as a meeting planner, we need to make sure that this accommodation, and I don't really like the word accommodation, but making sure that everybody feels included in that event is really, really important. And that goes with that. So the next week I've got a full gamut of guests lined up. We're going to go live every single day of Food Allergy Awareness Week next week, which I am so excited to bring all of these individuals in to you, to talk about different topics. And I'm pulling up my list of topics here that we've got lined up. We have, on next Monday, we're having a guest, who is a mother of, somebody with food allergies as well, managing multiple food allergies. So she's going to talk about the disparities and bridging the gap of understanding what food allergies are and how we provide for them. So I'm excited about bridging that gap a little bit more. So it's not just coming from me. On Wednesday, I'm talking with Amanda, who is in food service, and she has the alpha gal syndrome. And that is a allergy to all meats, all mammalian meat. So think of beef and pork and buffalo. She can eat fish and she can eat chicken, but she's allergic to all mammal meat. And think about and the byproducts of that as well. So we're going to dive deep into that and what that means and how food service can learn more about it. And just so you know, that allergy is growing very rapidly across the world. So we'll learn more about that. On May 11th, I am talking to Carolyn and Jackie from London, or the UK, on near misses in food safety. They do what I do over in the UK, education around food allergies and celiac disease. And they're going to talk about where we may miss something and think that we're doing it right, but where we can find those kind of bridging the gap or find the little holes that we might not think about, when we're planning our food and beverage. On the 12th, which is Thursday, I've got that backwards. We have got, who have we got on the 12th? Where's my list? Hang on a second. I'm going to jump to Friday the 13th. I'm actually talking to Lisa Rosenberg, who is we're going to talk about the psycho and social impacts of food allergies and celiac disease that individuals have, and how she helps her clients mitigate those stressors in eating out. One of her clients had not eaten in a restaurant in 8 years and now is confidently going out and eating at restaurants and ordering food, knows how to ask for the food and talk to those people providing food. And so we're going to talk about what those stressors are and the tension is around having a food allergy, because it's super scary. And we want to make sure that we help them. She's going to offer some suggestions on how we can help them feel safer in those environments. And on Saturday, I know I'm going to go live on a Saturday as well, but I'm talking to my friend Kyle Dine as well as Karen Palmer. Kyle has a company called Equal Eats, and he designs cards that you can take with you as you travel, to share, and they come in multiple languages, but you can share with your servers so they can get better understanding about your food allergies. I'm really excited about that. And Karen Palmer is the mother of a food allergic child as well, and we're going to talk to her about transitioning from mom taking care of you to going out into the real world and advocating for yourself. What she and her daughter have done to do that, and how that can actually apply to us as individuals who have food allergies in advocating for ourselves out in the big wide world. I think I got all. What I forgot was May 10th was Tuesday was Ruth, and she's got multiple allergies, and she's got a company called What Allergy, and so we're going to talk about what that is. So again, I've got a full lineup Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Monday through Saturday lined up of guests with a variety of different topics to talk to you about, so that we can better understand what food allergies are and how we can accommodate them. Later on in the month, I also have Gwen Smith, who is the founder and editor and publisher of Allergic Living magazine. So we're going to talk to her about she having food allergies herself, but what she's seeing in the community. And then on May 25th, I am talking to a flight attendant who has celiac disease, as well as a baker who has celiac disease and changed her career and what she does to become the baker and provide options for people with celiac disease, as well as other different dietary restrictions. And so I'm really, really excited about what is in lined up for you this month. To talk about this for Food Allergy Awareness Week or Food Allergy and Celiac Disease Awareness Month. So let me know if you've got any questions. Let me know if you want to hear from anybody specific, if you want to learn anything specific about food allergies and celiac disease, because there's lots to learn. Today, I'm doing a session at Cater Source on food rules. What are the rules around food allergies and celiac disease within the United States, Canada, the European Union, and actually inside specific states and cities here in the US? California's got a law, Massachusetts, St. Paul, Minnesota, Illinois. What are those laws that actually impact caterers and meeting planners related to food allergies? What are your responsibilities legally around these options? And that also includes the Americans with Disabilities Act. So we're going to touch on all of those things. I am not a lawyer, but I'm just giving information and pointing some directions so that these caterers and meeting planners can learn more about what their obligations are around these food rules that there are. So, or if you want to become an advocate in this, what you can do in your own community to help support those individuals. So that's it for today. I am going to close out and head out to Cater Source. The exhibit floor opens today. I'm going to go see what awesome ideas that are out there for creating events. I did meet a company yesterday that's got a new platform for managing recipes and allergens back of house, as well as managing where you're buying your food and beverage from. So it's a connected system. So I'm really excited to learn from them. And this afternoon at Cater Source is also my friend Aurora and Molly talking about sourcing locally and thinking about what you're doing, so the sustainable aspect of food and beverage. And I'm doing food rules, and then actually Aurora and my friend Zoe are doing a session tomorrow on sourcing again, but thinking about the equity, diversity, and inclusion of sourcing and sustainability in your menu planning. So there's so much to learn about food and beverage. I'm focused on food allergies and celiac disease this month. But if you have any questions about anything about food and beverage, give me a shout. You can reach me at tracy@thrivemeetings.com. You can catch me on the Eating at a Meeting podcast here. And this, oh my gosh, I think yesterday's podcast was number 132. And actually Zoe is the guest on that. And we chatted, we had a great conversation about equity, diversity, and inclusion, and what does food and beverage have to do with that. So check that out. It's on all podcast platforms. So until next week, until Monday, I will see you on Monday. Stay safe, eat well, and have a fabulous day. Thanks.